Hey YouTube, Mr. Robinson signing in here. Today's topic I want to talk to you about is what is Warrant Officer Candidate School, better known as WOCs. Warrant Officer Candidate School, WOCs, and I'm going to speak to you or tell you guys my experience as far as going to Fort Rucker, Alabama. That's where all the reserves and active duty go, is to Fort Rucker, Alabama. I won't shed my instruction or my knowledge on the National Guard side, in which each individual state has what they call an RTI. I guess the Regional Training Institute. There is where they do their warrant officer candidate school to become a warrant officer. There's a big difference. I'm going to lean on the Fort Rucker side, give you guys some information on it, but the biggest difference is Fort Rucker is 5 to 7 weeks straight through. Going through the National Guard RTI side is, I believe, about 6 months, being that every drill you go to do your candidate course, your candidate school. In between your drills, you have homework you have to do and certain courses you have to get done before the next time you show up for next month for your drill going to do the warrant officer candidate stuff. So I really can't give you any insight on that because that wasn't my experience, and this is coming from hearsay from some other warrants that I know that have gone that route. But anywho, warrant officer candidate course, or warrant officer candidate school, WOCs. WOCs is a challenging course. It's a course, they try to say it's not a rite of passage, but pretty much it is. But anything you get into that is above the original or above the regular standard, or aside from the body of any organization, you have to take a test for it. It is a rite of passage because you have to pass this to become one. Fraternities, for example, they definitely have a rite of passage, etc. Anyway, I'm trying to keep this short. Warrant Officer Candidate course, it is demanding. I went in the summertime. Mine was June to July. Fort Rucker, Alabama, where they call it Lower Alabama, is super hot. Got up to about 110, 113 degrees. To give you an idea how to prepare for it, make sure, the biggest thing to make sure you have to know you have to work on before you go there is your PT. Hands down, PT. If you're not running every day before you go, that course will hurt you. When I went through, I happened to have one of the only master fitness trainer warrants out there. There's only a handful of them. Of course, my senior TAC was one of them. And we ran, like every morning for PT, we would do our warm-ups, and then we would run to where we were going to do our PT, or we would run. And even running to where we were going to do our PT might have been a mile. It was about a good, no less than a 7-minute pace. So think about that, running a 7-minute pace. Now, we did some other runs. You're looking at, let's say, if you're not running a 7:30 pace, it's going to hurt. Yes. But that is the number one thing that you have to work on before you go there. Absolutely, hands down. Number two is try to get some ruck marches in. And I'm going to tell you how I trained before I went through, in my experience. But you definitely have to ruck march. You're going to have 2 ruck marches you have to complete in an allotted period of time. And just make sure you get some ruck march time in. It's not that bad. Just that you just make sure you get your time in, or it's going to hurt. You will learn there time management. That's a big part of warrant officer candidate school to become an officer. You will learn that you have to manage your time wisely. You have to pick and choose the things that take priority over the others, things that you know you would definitely take the hit for versus doing something else. And if you don't know what I mean by that is, you have a choice to do A and B, both have to get done. Which one is the better to get done? because both have to get done. You cannot not accomplish a task, and you have to pick and choose what you're going to do. Another thing it helps you with is teamwork, but we're looking at teamwork as far as when you're coming into Wocs, you are already pretty much an NCO, and I say pretty much because you can go to Wocs as I think an E4, but definitely E5 is the minimum. And there's a difference also. Actually, I believe E5, yes. But you have to complete WLC beforehand. If you do not complete WLC beforehand, you will have the 7-week version, or 7-week course versus the 5-week course. But majority of the people that become warrants or in Wocs are senior NCOs. They know what it's like to work as a team, but since you are more of the alpha of the team, this is where it makes you work together as a team with like-minded people. So you're looking at a lot of alpha personalities, more of the best of the best, that are trying to work together. So that's hard, but it does teach you to learn how to do that. What I grasped from it is that it teaches you to rely on your fellow warrant. Not the fact that relying on your team, but relying on your warrant, your fellow warrant. Just for the fact that a warrant officer corps is a very small corps. So more or less, it's more or less like a fraternity. We call it the cohort, but it is more or less like a fraternity. So I could see another warrant, and we could take care of each other behind the scenes. But yes, those are the main things you have to work on. As I kind of digressed, but our PT, your PT, make sure you run. Make sure your APFT isn't borderline when you get there, because you will fail. If you're borderline, if you score a 180 or 200, you will fail, hands down, because the grading on your initial PT test is super hard. You're guaranteed to fail. Get your ruck marches in. Do not fail any of your distance learning, because there are things you have to complete before you get there. I'm not going to give you the intricacies about the course itself, because I believe that's an experience that you have to experience on your own. So that I believe those are trade secrets. So if you want to become a warrant officer, you will experience that to live it. So I'm not going to tell you about certain things, but it is demanding. Every morning's an early morning, every night's a late night. It does, like I said, it teaches you time management. You learn how to write memos, and more or less, like, that's really about it. And it's day in, day out, Sunday through Sunday. 7 weeks version. I'm sorry, 5 weeks. I went through the 5-week one because I've had my WLC done and my ALC, so I didn't have to go through the 7-week part. But once you graduate, that last day, you are a warrant officer. The only difference is that you are appointed the position of a warrant officer, or the rank of a warrant officer, from the Department of the Army. Once you make CW2, you are fully commissioned as a commissioned officer. There's a big difference. We won't go into that in this video, but just to give you an idea, but you are a warrant officer once you graduate. Next, you go through OBC, or WOBC, Warrant Officer Basic Course, which is pretty much your MOS school for your branch. But that will be another video. But how I made it through Wocs, I went there on the bare minimum of everything. I'm a natural athlete, pretty much, genetically. I'm no star, but I mean, I am a natural athlete. So I prevailed, but it was very hard on me, very hard. I was on missions before going to Wocs, so I didn't have a lot of time to do PT. Plus, right beforehand, I was going for a month. Like I said, running that mission, we were at Fort Hunter Liggett. We had just had a newborn baby on top of it, so my wife was out of work. So when I got back, taking care of the household, working, I didn't start training for Wocs until I left. July 23rd was my first day. I didn't start training until June, and I'm talking about the middle of June, just getting some running in. just to give you an idea. And I made it through. You do have land navigation. That's another thing. I should have left that out. I did see people fail because of land navigation. It's not that hard. They teach you there. You just have to pay attention. But I was a first time go. But everything, it was hard on me physically. I will tell you that much. So that's why I'm telling you to make sure you train beforehand. I happen to be the guideline bearer from the beginning to the end, which usually the jobs get switched around, but I was that from the beginning to the end, so I had to run in the front of every formation and not fall out, which I did fall back, never fell out, but did fall back. But I did make it through, but it hurts. So if you want to make it less painful on yourself, because the more pain you endure there, the more it makes you want to say, you know what, do I really want to go through this? You know, and that's really the only pain. Like other than that, like PT in the morning's the only pain. Other than that, you're in classes all day. But I hope this was informational to you. I hope that you, future soldiers out there that want to become a warrant officer, gain something from it. You know, feel free to, you know, send me a message and I'll try to give you as much information as possible. Also, there is a program called Street to Seat, I believe it is, to become a warrant officer. And that is people who want to become pilots. So you can come in the Army to become a warrant officer from joining the Army, going through basic training, going through, I guess you'll still go through your AIT, and then you'll go through warrant officer candidate course, I believe, and then you'll go to flight school. But majority or most of your warrants have been prior enlisted or O-grade officers who are pretty much getting mandatory retired, and they resign their O-grade commission to become a warrant officer, which is something I feel a little indifferent about, because I can't just as a warrant officer say I want to become an O-grade officer and just flip right over, because they'll make me go through OCS or jump through hoops versus they can take a step down. But as a matter of fact, I have a friend of mine who's a former lieutenant colonel, and he's a WO1 just like me right now. But I hope this is informational. I hope I gave you guys some insight on what it is to go through warrant officer candidate course. Before you even enter there, you will be called candidate. A lot of people don't know what to call you when you're wearing the Wocs, when you're walking around your unit. They try to call you sir, they want to salute you. You know, really and truly, you are in limbo. You do outrank enlisted, but you don't. You only outrank them because of the position, not because of the rank. But you're not salutable because you're not an officer. But what you're called is called candidate, not chief, not any of the other stuff. But a lot of people don't know that. But they just call you chief, and you end up going along with it anyway until you go through, you complete your course. But enough of that. I hope this was informational, and thanks for stopping by.